So when I was about 5 or 6, I had a best friend named Maggie who lived next door. We would always go outside and play together. One day around dinner time, we saw a little girl around our age staring at us on the side of another nearby house. She was extremely pale and wearing a white dress. We would see her for days on end in the exact same dress. And as soon as we would yell for her to come play with us, she would run around to the front of her house. One day, we finally decided to chase after her. As soon as we rounded the corner to her front yard, she was gone. Like, she had literally disappeared. When we were walking back, we noticed a pile of dirt next to our house. In the dirt was written K-A-R-A with a stick next to it. We just assumed she was shy and wrote her name out for us, Kara. The next day, we saw her again and started yelling, "Kara, Kara, wait!" We ran after her again, rounded the corner, and saw this old couple doing yard work in our front yard. We assumed that they were Kara's parents. So we asked them, "Hey, where's your daughter Kara?" And they were like, that's not funny. And we were like, "No, seriously, we've been seeing her every night. We just wanted to know if she wanted to come play with us." The old man looked at us and said, "Our daughter Kara got hit by a truck and died 30 years ago in front of this house."
Story time about how I broke up my best friend and his girlfriend. So it was our sophomore year in high school, and my best friend and I had known each other since we were like 8 years old. And I've always had a crush on him. Like, anytime he would get a girlfriend, I would try and break them up. And it would work. Well, our freshman year of high school, he started dating this one girl. Well, when he started dating her, he distanced himself from me because she didn't like how much time we were spending together. So a few months go by and my birthday's coming up. And mind you, within these past few months, we only seen each other like twice. And he had me blocked on all social media. Well, our parents were really good friends because we lived in the same cul-de-sac. So my mom invited him and his parents to my birthday party. So at the end of my party, my friends left and him and his parents stayed. And my parents really didn't care if I drank alcohol, so we had like a whole bottle of vodka to ourselves. So we're in the basement and we're taking shots together. Well, I got him super drunk and he fell asleep. And while he was sleeping, I went on his phone and like for part 2.
Yes, this really did happen. In 2015, a man woke up to a strange post-it note sitting on his desk. On it was a to-do list that he didn't recognize in handwriting that didn't look like his. Since he was up late the night before doing some work, he assumed he must have written out the list when he was half asleep and kind of forgot about it, so he just crumples it up and throws it away. 2 weeks later, he wakes up to dozens of these post-it notes all over his wall, and they're all blank except for one that, in the same weird handwriting, says, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you." Now feeling totally freaked out that some crazy person is crawling around his apartment at night, he starts looking for signs of a break-in, but there aren't any. Instead of calling the police, he shares his experience on Reddit asking for help, and one user's comment literally saves his life. Turns out the man was writing the notes to himself and then forgetting, because his brain was slowly dying due to a carbon monoxide leak that was only discovered because a user suggested he install a detector.
So for the first time in a really long time, I actually had something scary happen to me last night. So I was up really late because my boyfriend's in Vegas and their time difference is 2 hours behind. And he goes to bed really late. So for the past few days, I've been staying up till 4 a.m. until he falls asleep. So last night I decided I wanted to get some food, a late night snack. And at this point, I think it's like 2 a.m. And in my basement, I hear some rumbling and fumbling. But nobody's down there. Everybody's asleep. I don't have any pets. My dog's dead. I don't have any pets. So I'm in the kitchen listening. And my kitchen is right here and like the stairs to the basement is right there. And like my house is low key empty so you could hear everything. And I start hearing little whispers. A little. So I'm sitting there eating my snack and I hear that shit. And I pause the YouTube video I was watching. And I start hearing footsteps come upstairs. So I sat in my backyard for the rest of the night. Up until like 3 a.m. and then I went inside and went to bed.
I found out I was pregnant just as I was about to enter into business school 8 years ago. I was just 20 years old and I had made so many plans for my life. I was just not ready to have a child yet. I was scared out of my mind because my parents were very strict. I called my boyfriend immediately I found out about the pregnancy. He asked me to come to his house immediately. He hugged me immediately he saw me. I will never forget the look in his eyes that day. He was so happy. He wanted us to have the baby, but I didn't want to. I was not ready for a baby at all. I don't know how he did it, but he was able to convince me to have the baby. My parents reacted the way I knew they were going to react. They disowned me and threw me out of the house. Luckily for me, my man had a good job and a nice and comfortable apartment. I moved in with him and dropped out of school 5 months later. I was always weak and I couldn't keep my foot down. I tried to keep up with my studies, but it was just impossible with the way I was feeling. So I planned to continue schooling after my baby turned 1. Everything was great in my relationship and my boyfriend was very supportive. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl and we were happy. After my baby girl turned 1, I was planning on going back to school when I found out I was pregnant again. This was when things took a turn for the worse. When I told my boyfriend the news, he was excited for this new baby too. But I knew deep within me then that I was never going back to school. But I told myself that at least I had a supportive man. A man who has promised to always be there for me. I was in my second trimester when I started seeing changes. He started staying out late. Sometimes when he goes to work, he doesn't come home. I'll call and he will not pick up. I'll be scared out of my mind thinking something had happened to him. But then he will come home the next day and apologize. Then he stopped apologizing altogether. After that, the verbal abuse started. This man just changed overnight. He had promised to marry me after I gave birth to my second child. After I gave birth, I asked him when we were getting married. He told me point blank that he doesn't know. Then I found out he was cheating. He apologized the first time. Told me he was going to break things off with a girl. But he didn't. When I confronted him, he told me he was a man. So he can have more than one woman if he wanted. This was not what I had signed out for. And I wanted to leave him. But who was going to love a woman with 2 kids? I was stuck and he knew it. I was not working and he was the one taking care of me. At this point, he had told me several times that no man will ever love me if I leave him. Because no man will want to marry a woman with kids. My second child was not even 1 year when I found out I was pregnant again. This time around, I didn't tell him at all. I just found a way to take it out. Sometimes he will act all loving towards me. Tell me I'm the love of his life and that he cannot wait to marry me. And then he will change totally. Talk to me by heart. Tell me I am nothing without him. And cheat on me openly. It made me feel like I was nothing and I felt that way for a very long time. Because I believed everything he told me. I told myself no man will love me, so I should just take him like that. I felt that if I leave him, I'll be alone forever. So I stayed. And I stayed with him for years whilst he treated me like trash. One day, I told myself enough was enough. I knew deep within me that I'll be so much happier being alone with my kids without this man. Even if no man finds me attractive again, I'll be happy and have my peace of mind without him. And that is when I decided to take control of my life. I called my mom for the first time in years. And I was shocked she was happy to hear from me. She told me to come home. And I packed my things that same day and left his house. I will not forget the way he laughed at me that day, telling me if I leave him, he will not take care of the kids again. And that I'll be back with him in no time. Because no man would ever want me. I vowed to myself never to go back to him. I deserved better. After I moved back home, I started working as a waitress in a restaurant, saved a little bit of money, and then I started a small online business. My focus was on how to make my life and my kids' life better. I was not thinking of dating anyone at that point. A man was the last thing on my mind. I gave all my time to my business and it grew. I don't even know how I started dating Ben, the owner of the school my kids were attending. I dropped my kids off at school one day. I met him at the gate of the school whilst I was walking back home. He offered to give me a lift and I accepted. We spoke in the car and we vibed. He took my number, one thing led to the other, and we started dating. We dated for only 6 months when he asked me to marry him. We've been married for 2 years now. We have a baby of our own and he treats my kids like they are his. Every day with him is like a dream. He treats me like a queen and he will forever be my king. I wonder how my life would have been if I had stayed with my ex because I was scared of being alone. Don't settle. Love is for everyone. Follow me or click the plus sign for more story times.
This is why you should be careful who you marry. Once there was a man who hated his wife, so he came up with a horrifying plan. But he would never expect that she was one step ahead. He lied by saying he wanted to fix their marriage by taking her on a vacation to a hotel near the mountains. There they went to a long hiking trail near a cliff. His plan was to push her and claim it was an accident. But this went terribly wrong. As soon as they arrived near the cliff, his wife said something unexpected. "I know you hate me, but you have no idea how much I hate you." Then she revealed what she had done. Before leaving the hotel that morning, she wrote a note to the hotel manager saying she knew her husband was planning to push her off a cliff, and if anything happened, tell the police. Then she looked up at her husband and said, "Now there's no way you'll convince anyone this was an accident." Horrified, the husband said, "What accident?" But before he could finish, his wife jumped. By the time he went back to the hotel, the police were already waiting. This is why I don't tell anyone where I live. There was once a boy who asked his single father for a bedtime story, so the father told him. There was once a boy named Colby who made friends with another boy online called Helper23. On Colby's birthday, Helper23 wanted to give him a present in real life, so Colby gave him his home address, where he lives with his mom, his dad, and his little brother. But then Colby started to feel a bit weird about giving his address to a stranger online. The next night, he thought he had to tell his parents about it. He called out to his dad but got no reply, then found both his parents killed and a man wearing a dark hoodie holding a knife in the hallway. As Colby started to beg for his life, he hears his little brother crying in the next room. The intruder then strangles Colby and leaves the house with Colby's baby brother. The boy then looks up at his father and asks, "Why did the intruder take the baby?" To which his father just calmly smiled and said, "I've always wanted to be a father."